What if you're not afraid of falling in the net? What if you just jump? Well, this is really interesting because while courage is an incredible thing and a beautiful thing, and as I always re-remind, because it was so beautiful for me when I learned this, the root, the actual etymology of the word courage comes not from bravery. The etymology of the word bravery actually has to do with protection, with armor. Bravery stemmed out of going to war and battles and fighting, and the ones who would, be fearless in the battle. But bravery requires us to have literal or metaphoric armor and a 3-foot spear with which we hold the world at a distance. Whereas courage actually stems from the same as the French root cœur, of heart. And it actually means an open heart. So while the words are usually used interchangeably, they're actually opposites. Bravery is, I'm covered up, I've kept you at a spear's distance, a sword's distance, while courage is, I've opened my heart. So while courage is a wonderful thing, and it's a goal and an aim, we have to make sure not to confuse it or conflate it with recklessness or lack of caring. There's a couple things that make us jump. One, full faith and full trust. The other, well, net may be there, net may not be there. If the net's there, it'll catch me. If it's not there, I'll die. Either way, fine, whatever. Those are two very different motivations and two very different places from which we jump. And having the absolute constant courage that God is always there, that the divine is always there, that the universe is protecting me, whatever word, whatever semantics, whatever framework we use, it doesn't matter. But such a deep faith. That faith is like one of my favorite Puja Swamiji stories of when he was on an airplane. This was going back maybe 30 years. So he was on an airplane in America and sitting on the plane with the chief editor of our Encyclopedia of Hinduism. And these were in the days when they were just beginning to get the project off the ground, and they were traveling from city to city and country to country, raising awareness about the importance of this academic project. And the chief editor was this very renowned professor emeritus from the University of Virginia, an Indian man, of course, but who had been in America for many, many, many decades and a very renowned scholar. So they're on this airplane, and there's incredible turbulence, like not just normal turbulence, but turbulence to the point where the pilot actually comes on and tells people to take crash position, that they may be having to make an emergency landing. And the plane plummets thousands of feet at a time. It's not going down like this, it's literally just dropping. And the overhead bins are opening and luggage is falling out and everybody's screaming and crying and grabbing the people next to them. And Puja Swamiji's writing. And now those of you who know him will know that he writes frequently. He's usually making plans for so many different humanitarian projects, and any free time he has, he's making notes. So writing was not so unusual, except for the fact that he was on a plane that was about to crash. And people are screaming and screaming, and finally, again, the pilot comes on, and even the stewardesses are panicked, and they're grabbing each other, and they're crying. And again, the pilot comes on and tells everybody to take crash position, and that he's trying to stabilize the plane, but it's not stabilizing. And, you know, you can imagine what the scene must be on this airplane. And it's plummeting, and it's like this, and luggage is flying everywhere. And Swamiji's writing. So finally, this chief editor can't take it anymore. And he says to Swamiji, he's like, "What are you writing?" And Swamiji says, "My speech." Now, another thing about Swamiji is he never, ever, ever prepares speeches in advance. It's just whatever comes, he speaks. So Dr. Rao says to him, "Swamiji, what speech? There's not going to be any speeches. We're going to die. It's over. This plane is plummeting into the ground." And Swamiji says, "Well, see, that's the issue. See, I know I'm not going to die. And if everybody here on the plane is right that they're going to die, everybody's convinced they're going to die. If you're right that everybody's going to die, it means I'm going to be the sole survivor of this airplane crash. And if I'm the sole survivor of the airplane crash, naturally, they're going to want to take my interview. And my English isn't so good, and since you're the one who does all my Hindi to English translation, and you're going to be dead by then, I figured that I might as well start working on it now while I have you alive in the seat next to me, so I could ask you any questions that I had about words that I didn't know." That's the type of courage that comes from knowing that God's always, you know, that you're literally, that net is following you wherever you go. It exists. It's very special. It's very special. It's very rare. And it's certainly something that we all should aspire to. Obviously, the plane didn't crash. And this was actually a story that was told to me by the chief editor, who said, you know, I had always revered him. I mean, I had always respected him and looked up to him. But it was really in that moment when I recognized, you know, who he really was, that this was not just a respected leader, but this was someone with a connection that was so profound and so different. So that's what knowing the net follows you looks like. And if that's what your experience is, God bless you. I mean, really, you've already been blessed. But what we have to be careful of is that we don't mistake a lack of caring with that full courage. Because lack of caring also makes us jump in the net. Or jump wherever. Net there or no net there. And the problem with lack of caring is it disconnects us from the juice of life. Many of us mistake non-attachment with lack of caring. And so you'll see people in various stages of spiritual practice who get this sort of very, very stoic look. You know, the almost kind of like a rock look on the face. The I'm detached from the world, whatever happens, happens look. And if you live amongst the masters long enough, and I've been so blessed to be here for 20 years and to see and to be in the presence of so many of the just most enlightened masters. And what I can tell you is 100% of them, every one of them, has a face that is lit up, that is present, that is connected, eyes that sparkle. The ones that have the face like a mask are the ones who have mistaken detachment for lack of connection and lack of caring. The detachment doesn't mean I'm separate from you. The detachment means I am so deeply connected to the divine within you that when the vehicle that the divine has come in, your body, your mind, makes decisions that I think are wrong, or says things that are insulting to me, or acts in a way that's not in line with my values, it doesn't throw me for a loop. I don't find myself going up and down based on what you say or do. I'm detached from that only because I'm so deeply connected to the core divinity of you that I can be with you, be present with you, be connected to you, but not be impacted or affected by what you say or do. By whether you clean your room, or you help with the dishes, or you're nice to me, or you're not nice to me, or you touch my feet or don't touch my feet, or call me honey or don't call me honey, or whatever. The stuff that sends most of us up and down. But the way that most of us go about it is we just disconnect ourselves. That detachment is going to be this disconnection. What you do hurts me, so I will stop caring. What happens to me in the world hurts me, so I will stop caring. And that's not where we want to go. Where we want to go is deeper, not out of the ocean entirely. You know, it's like if you're in the ocean and the waves are there, the solution is not, how can I get out of this ocean of life? But how can I go deep enough that the waves don't toss me around? It's not about getting out, it's about going deep. And this is just something that you're going to have to, work with in your own meditation, of taking that courage, which is a great asset, and just with the eyes and the vision of fearlessness, courage in the vision, courage in the examination, courage in the question. Look at yourself, question yourself over and over of, where is this from lack of caring, and where is this from courage? Where have I disconnected myself, and where have I connected myself so deeply that the waves aren't impacting